Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Janatimirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurugnatamina Taspashi Durve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavishna Samika Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Haramaya Tadati Swapatantikam Vandeyaham Shri Guru Shri Yuddhamata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Vasagajatam Savana Raghunatam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Samadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam
Shri Radha Krishna Sahagana Lalita Shri Sravanam
Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamandu Janapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishamanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaurvrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Janatimirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurunilitamina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Mukham Karoti Vachalam Angulam Gaitam Giri Chatripatar Maham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. So today's topic is going to be on how Pariksit offends Samika Rishi. Text 27. Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 27. Viprakirna Jatachanam Raravena Jinena Cha Vishushyatalur Udakam Tatabhutam Ayachata
Viprakirna Jatachanam Raravena Jinena Cha Vishyusyatalurudakam Tathabhutam Ayachita.
The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water. So first of all, hungry and thirst. So thirst is more intolerable than hunger. Because he needed terribly water, he came to the Rishi's ashram, and the Rishi was deep in trance, and he came to the Rishi and told to him. He came to the Rishi, and he didn't think that place to sit, water, and sweet words would be denied. So, but both of them was not wrong, because the Rishi was deep in trance, and Maharaj Pariksit, he needed water so badly. So when he came to the Rishi, neither he was ordinary Saul, or he was the Rishi's enemy. So then he got really angry, and on the way out, he found a dead snake, and he thought that this dead snake would be good because the Rishi coldly received him, so he must be coldly rewarded. So he took the dead snake garland, and put it on the Rishi's shoulder. So then, but this is all Krishna's arrangement. If all of this didn't happen, then the Bhagavatam would not be revealed. So then when Maharaj Pariksit went back to his kingdom, he was thinking, was the Rishi really in deep trance, or was he just trying to ignore him, to not receive him? So now it's next verse, text 28.
Should we read the purport quickly?
The king being thirsty asked the sage for water. That such a great devotee and king asked for water from a sage absorbed in trance was certainly providential. Otherwise, there was no chance for such a unique happening. Maharaj Pariksit was thus placed in text 28. Alabda China Bhumiyatir.
Alabda Trina Bhumyadir.
Asampradata Ya Sunrata.
Asamprapta Gya Sunrataha.
Avajnatam Ivatmanam.
Avagnatam Ivatnamanam.
Manyamanas Chakopaha.
Manyam Manaschakopaha.
The king, not received by any formal welcome, by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered him neglected, and so thinking he became angry. Purport. Could I have a volunteer to read the purport?
I can read. The law of reception in the codes of the Vedic principles states that even if an enemy is received at home, he must be received with all respects. He should not be given a chance to understand that he has come into the house of an enemy. When Lord Krishna, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, approached Jarasandha and Magad, the respectable enemies were given a royal reception by King Jarasandha. The guest enemy, namely Bhima, was to fight with Jarasandha, and yet they were given a grand night. They used to sit down together as friends and guests, and in the day they used to fight, risking life and death. That was the law of reception. The reception law enjoins that a poor man who has nothing to offer his guest should be good enough to offer a straw mat for sitting, a glass of water for drinking, and some sweet words. Therefore, to receive a guest, either friend or foe, there is no expense. It is only a question of good manners. When Maharaj Pariksit entered the door of Shamik Rishi, he did not expect a royal reception by the Rishi, because he knew that saints and Rishis are not materially rich men. But he never expected that a seat of straw, a glass of water, and some sweet words would be denied to him. He was not an ordinary guest, nor was he an enemy of the Rishi, and therefore the cold reception by the Rishi astonished the king greatly. As a matter of fact, the king was right to get angry with the Rishi when he needed a glass of water very badly. To become angry in such a grave situation was not unnatural for the king, but because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking action were astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was so ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. The king was a great devotee of the Lord, and the saint was also as good as the king. But by the will of the Lord, the circumstances were so created that they became ways to the king's becoming unattached to family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul onto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such opportunities for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence. But outwardly the situation appears to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord are always under the protection of the Lord, and in any condition, frustration or success, the Lord is the supreme guide for the devotees. The pure devotees therefore accept all conditions of frustrations as blessings from God.
So, a place to sit, water and sweet words. Anyone can have those. When he came to the a rich person to a poor person, a rich person might have a big soft vyasa asan, or a poor person might have just a kushma. But still, that is a satisfactory place to sit. And then a glass of water. How do you survive without water? They always have some water supply, like a lake, river, or stream, or well. They always have a water supply. And also sweet words. Sweet words are the most important. When somebody comes to your house, doesn't matter you give him rajbog. If you don't give him sweet words, that's still not going to be very satisfactory. So, I'm not going to feel it as a satisfactory reception. So also in previous days, even enemies were welcomed. The enemy should not be given a chance to figure out that he's come to an enemy's house. When Bhima and Arjuna, they came to Jarasan at Magda. Jarasan gave them a royal reception, and even though they were enemies, there's one story of Duryodhana and the Pandavas. So one time, Duryodhana told to Bhishma, you love these Pandavas so much that you're never going to kill them, even you're a very good archer. So Bhishma said, all right, here are these 5 arrows. I give these 5 arrows to you. Keep these at your tent. Tomorrow, you give these 5 arrows to me. And with these 5 arrows, I'll kill the 5 Pandavas. So then Krishna figured out all this. And in the middle of the night, Krishna waked up Arjuna. And Arjuna was like, what? It's in the middle of the night. Why are you waking me up? And Krishna said, it's very urgent. Wake up. And Arjuna was like, all right, what? And Krishna said, go to Duryodhana's tent immediately and ask him for the 5 arrows. Arjuna was like, okay. And he went to Duryodhana's tent. He asked 5 arrows. And Duryodhana, without any thinking, just gave the 5 arrows. And Arjuna went with the 5 arrows back to Krishna. And he gave the 5 arrows to Krishna. Then the next day, Bhishma came to Duryodhana and asked him for the 5 arrows. Duryodhana is like, Bhishma's like, simple, just give me the 5 arrows. And Duryodhana is like, the Arjuna took it. And then Bhishma was thinking in his mind, if Krishna doesn't want somebody to die, nobody can kill him. Those are the Rakhi Krishna Marake. If Krishna wants somebody to die, nobody can keep him alive. If Krishna wants somebody to be alive, then nobody can kill him. So now text 29. Abhuta Purva Sahasa
Sahasa
Shutribhyam Artitatmanaha
Shutribhyamatritatmanaha
Brahmanam Parthi Abud Brahman
Brahmanam Patriya Bhut Brahman
Matsara Manyure Pacha
Matsaro Manyore Vacha.
O Brahmanas, the king's anger and envy directed toward the Brahmana sage.
20.
Yeah, guys.
O Brahmanas, O Brahmanas, the king's anger and envy directed toward the Brahmana sage were unprecedented, being that circumstances had made him hungry and thirsty. Purport. For a king like Maharaj Pariksit to become angry and envious, especially at a sage and Brahmana, was undoubtedly unprecedented. The king knew well that Brahmanas, sages, children, women, and old men are always beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. Similarly, the king, even though he commits a great mistake, is never to be considered a wrongdoer. But in this case, Maharaj Pariksit became angry and envious at the sage due to his thirst and hunger. By the will of the Lord, the king was right to punish his subject for coldly receiving him or neglecting him. But because the culprit was a sage and a Brahmana, it was unprecedented. As the Lord is never envious of anyone, so also the Lord's devotee is never envious of anyone. The only justification for Maharaj Parikshit's behavior is that it was ordained by the Lord. So lust, greed, anger, pride, but not envy, can be used in Krishna consciousness. Lust. If you have lust, you just get married, and then you can use your whole family for Krishna's service. Greed. For greed, you can just keep listening, more and more class, more and more, doing more and more kirtan, more and more distribution, and also eating more and more prasadam. And anger. Hanumanji, they set his tail on fire, but then the tail is a part of his body. It was painful, but because he was so angry on Ravana, he burned half of Ravana's kingdom for Ramachandra's service. Pride. Aren't we very proud that we have a friend who is God? He has all the 6 opulences that nobody has, only him, which we call 4 BKP. F for fame, O for opulence, R for renunciation, B for beauty, K for knowledge, P for power. But envy cannot be used in Krishna consciousness. So Pariksit, the meaning of Pariksit is examiner, because in the womb of his mother, Uttara, Asvatthama threw the Brahma Astra to kill Pariksit. Pariksit was really getting hot, and his mother, Uttara, was also feeling the heat. So she ran to Krishna for help. And then Krishna became top-sized and went inside her womb and started circling his club to protect Pariksit from the Asvatthama, from the Brahmastra. So then Pariksit, he got darshan of Krishna in his mother's womb. And then when he came out from his mother's womb, he started examining everybody to find Krishna. That's why he's called Pariksit, the examiner. Text 30. Sattu Brahma Risher Amse.
Satur Brahma Risheramse.
Gata Som Aragam Prusa.
Gata Ugra Prusa.
Vinirgachan Danuskotya.
Vinigacha Danusotya.
Nidaya Puramagataha.
Nidaya Puramagataha.
While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace. Purport. The king thus treated the sage tit for tat, but although he was never accustomed to such silly actions. while going away, found a dead snake in front of him. And he thought that the sage, who had coldly received him, thus might be coldly rewarded by being offered a garland of a dead snake. In the ordinary course of dealing, this was not very unnatural. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit's dealing with the Brahmana sage, this was certainly unprecedented. It so happened by the will of the Lord. Tit for tat. So one of His Grace Kanad Maharaj's disciple was going on a morning walk and chanting a japa, and some random guy just comes and slaps him. So then that devotee just keeps going on. He doesn't give anything back. So that person said, "Why didn't you slap me back?" That devotee said, "Previously I slapped someone. Now I got it back. If I slap you back, it's gonna come back again. So I want to stop this chain." Then another one, His Grace Sachidananda Maharaj on the end, and he said, and I went like this, and the ball went in the hole, and the sharp knife, it cut Maharaj's stomach, and there was this fountain of blood. Even they did the anesthesia to Maharaj, the Maharaj was still awake and feeling and seeing everything. Maharaj said it was so painful that his subtle body came out. He could fly everywhere. He went to the temple and he saw one devotee praying for him. And he thought, "Oh my, I gotta get serious now. I think this is." And then Krishna started talking to him from the altar. Krishna told to him, "This is my dear devotee. This is not your end. Please go back to your body. You'll come to me later." And then he went back to his body, and he woke up. And the doctor said, "All right, everything is good. Now you're good to go." And Maharaj told everything about the surgery. And the doctor got so scared. He said, "Are you going to sue me?" And the Maharaj said, "No, this is not my thing. I'm a monk." So that's how he stopped the tit for tat. So the next verse, 31. Isha kim niprita sesha.
Isha kim nirbate shesha.
Karana milite kshana.
Karano milite kshanaha.
Vrisha samadir ashobit.
Vrisha samadira hosmi.
Kim nusyat shatra bandhubi.
Kim nusyat shatra bandhubi.
Upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation with the senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feeding trance just to avoid receiving the Lord Kshatriya. Purport. What? Can I have a volunteer to read the purport?
The king, being a devotee of the Lord, did not approve of his own action, and thus he began to wonder whether the sage was really in a trance or was just pretending in order to avoid receiving the king, who was a Kshatriya and therefore lower in rank. Repentance comes in the mind of a good soul as soon as he commits something wrong. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami do not believe that the king's action was due to his past misdeeds. The arrangement was so made by the Lord just to call the king back home, back to Godhead. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the plan was made by the will of the Lord, and by the will of the Lord, the situation of frustration was created. The plan was that for his so-called misdeed, the king could be cursed by an inexperienced Brahmana boy infected by the influence of Kali, and thus the king would leave his hearth and home for good. His connections with Srila Sukdev Goswami would enable the presentation of the great Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered to be the book incarnation of the Lord. This book incarnation of the Lord gives much fascinating information of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, like his Rasa Leela with the spiritual cowherd damsels of Vrajabhumi. This specific pastime of the Lord has a special significance because anyone who properly learns about this particular pastime of the Lord will certainly be dissuaded from mundane sex desire and be placed on the path of sublime devotional service to the Lord. The pure devotee's mundane frustration is meant to elevate the devotee to a higher transcendental position. By placing Arjuna and the Pandavas in frustration due to the intrigue of their cousin brothers, the prelude of the battle of Kurukshetra was created by the Lord. This was to incarnate the sound representative of the Lord Bhagavad Gita. So, by placing King Pariksit in an awkward position, the incarnation of Srimad Bhagavatam was created by the will of the Lord. Being distressed by hunger and thirst was only a show because the king much even in the womb of his mother. He was never disturbed by the glaring heat of the Brahmastra released by Ashwatthama. The king's distressed condition was certainly unprecedented. The devotees like Maharaj Pariksit are powerful enough to forbear such distress by the will of the Lord and they are never disturbed. The situation in this case was therefore all planned by the Lord.
So, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 3. Di ka makapataror, kalitang palam, sukamukad amrita, davasamritam, pibata bhagavatam, rasamalayam, muhurahora, sika paribu, mubibaruka. So you should hear the Bhagavatam like drinking mango juice, just by drinking it from your ear. So Bhagavatam is so relishing when you hear it from a qualified speaker. Sukha Parrot. Radha and Krishna, who's Sukha? Radha and Krishna was going back to Goloka Vrindavan, and Sukha and Sari was going with Radha and Krishna, but Radharani, she stopped Sukha. She told to Sukha, you must stay in this material world and preach, and then you'll come back to me. And Sukha said, no, I want to go with you. But Radharani said, no, you have to preach here, and then you'll come back to me. And then they left. And Sukha said, how can I survive without hearing the glories of Radha and Krishna and the devotees? So he went all the way to Amarnath, to Lord Shiva's place. And there, Lord Shiva was going to give Bhagavatam class. He told to Parvati Devi that, okay, Parvati Devi, now we're going to do Bhagavatam class. So that I know you're not going to sleep, you should tell some sounds like, oh yeah, I understand. Wow. And then I'll just on and on. Parvati Devi was like, all right. And then in the middle of the Bhagavatam class, Nitra Devi came to Parvati Devi and put her into deep sleep. And then Parvati was into deep. I understand. Wow, interesting. And Lord Shiva started going on and on and on. And then Shiva stopped the Bhakti, and he's there for 3 times calling Parvati Devi. And then he goes, and then Parvati Devi wakes up. Oh, sorry. I just fell asleep in the middle of your Bhagavatam class. And she was like, where was those sounds coming? This hum, I understand. And he's like, that means somebody else is hearing. He looked around and then he looked up and he saw the Sukha Parrot there. He's like, how come Bhagavatam can be listened by such lower class animals? And he jumped up from his seat and started chasing Sukha Parrot with his trident. And Sukha Parrot is like, oh no, I'm not here for fighting. And he went all the way to Vyasadev's place. And there is Vyasadev's wife, also sleeping with an open mouth. and he went in the Vyasadev's wife's open mouth, and he went in her womb. And then he's like, all right, now here is safety, and I can just keep hearing Bhagavatam class. Nobody's coming here. And then he didn't just stay there for 9 months. He stayed there for 16 years. Just keep hearing the Bhagavatam that Vyasadeva was writing. And then finally Krishna came and it's like, Sukaparad, it's time to come out. Please go preach. And Sukaparad was like, all right. He came out and he went straight to the forest. And Vyasadeva was like, hey, Sukaparad, please come here. Sukadeva Goswami. And then Sukaparad went all the way to the bank of Yamuna. And there's Maharaj Pariksit because the Shringi cursed Maharaj Pariksit to die in 7 days by a snake bird. And Maharaj Pariksit and the Samika Rishi came to him and told, I can take that curse back. And also Maharaj Pariksit has the power to counteract that curse. But Maharaj Pariksit was like, no, that's okay. I'll stay with this curse. And he renounced everything. He went straight to the bank of Yamuna. And everybody came there to see Maharaj Pariksit. But Maharaj Pariksit was waiting for a bona fide speaker to speak Bhagavatam to him. And finally Sukadeva Goswami came. And he's like, this is a bona fide speaker that I can listen Bhagavatam from. And then he listened Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And he finished it in 7 days. So Pariksit is not an ordinary person. Because he tolerated that Brahma Ashra, the terrible heat. Then how can he tolerate this just thirst? So that means it's just Krishna's arrangement. So now we can conclude the class. Any questions, comments, corrections, or realizations?
Nice class. Very beautiful class.
Questions? We can maybe go around and everybody can share their reflections and if they have any questions. Yeah? Do you have any reflections about the topic?
In the last story, the Sukapraya, that is, his name is Bhakti Maharaj.
Mike?
I like what you said about the ego. So I don't want to.
No,
I like
people
what
cannot
you
hear.
said. Thank you for nice class. It is very wonderful, We all, it's so cute, but the way he was expressing himself, And I like the what you said about the ego, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Maya. It is very nice explanation what you gave. And we need to keep in mind all the time. That's what we are praying Krishna to take away all our anartha. Thank you.
You have any reflections? Any reflections?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, reflections. Roshan, anything?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ujjwala Prabhu, for the nice class. So, it was one thing that is that, okay, even though sometimes bad thing happens, maybe there is a bigger plan for that. So, that is one thing that stuck out to me. So.
Ujjwala Nitai Prabhu. Great class, great presentation, very well prepared. Thank you. It was very nice to hear, some of the reflections that you shared. Especially even the one that, welcoming the enemy with so much of respect. And you gave the example of the story of Krishna, telling Arjuna to go and ask for the arrows, and Duryodhana just gave because that is the etiquette. So. Oh yeah, in the middle of the battle at night.
It's in the night.
At night, right.
In the middle of the battle, they fight in between life and death.
Right.
And then in the night, they're like friends.
Exactly. So nice way to understand that and implement in our lives. That sometimes maybe in the war, when we are doing some service, there may be conflict. But at the end of the day, we are all serving for Krishna, so we can forget all of that and become friends. Doesn't,
But why can't they become friends during the day also?
because that's the Lord's will of the Lord. Who will fight? How will the Bhagavad Gita come out?
We are not fighting, we are doing devotional service.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one reflection I had. But I was also thinking of a question. Maybe Prem Singh Guru can also assist. So everything comes from Lord, right? Everything emanates from the Lord. Everything is happening with the will of Lord. So is envy also created by by Lord? Because other things are there even in the spiritual world, but not envy. But envy is only material. So did Krishna create envy so that we can be bewildered or we can have this false ego all the time? And so that's one question. Second question I had was, so when Pariksit Maharaj does things, we say, oh, this is Krishna's will. But when Shringi cursed Pariksit Maharaj, so here Prabhupada is saying, because he is under the influence of Maya. So why don't we say that Pariksit Maharaj was also under the influence of Maya, or Shringi also did it because of the will of Krishna, right?
Or Ujjwala, you wanna take a shot? You understood the question?
So envy is created by Lord, right? So we have envy, so that is the will of Lord. That is not my problem, right? That is the will of Lord. So there is nothing wrong with that.
Even envy is there in the materialistic. It is there. The gopis are there.
Yeah,
Chandravali, but it is transcendental envy. With the material words perverted. So it becomes bad. But it's transcendental envy is there. Everybody is trying to compete to do better service for Krishna. But they are not.
So in that case,
transcendental.
everything is transcendental there,
Huh.
transcendental pride, transcendental greed. So we say that everything, if we have other things also we can go back. But envy is there, then we cannot go back.
That we say that.
Other things can be dovetailed in Krishna's service. But we came because we envied the Lord.
Ujjwala.
So we came because of Ichha Dvesha Samudaya. We thought why Lord is enjoying. Their envy is there, but that envy gives pleasure to the Lord. Here we are envying the Lord because we want to be Krishna. That's why we came to the material world. There is transcendental, she was saying, transcendental envy and material envy. There is transcendental lust. The gopis are like attracted to Krishna. Then that is like, so we should be very attracted to, lusty for Krishna. But that is transcendental lust. Here it is a perverted reflection in this world.
Yeah, but also all these things can be directed towards Krishna. Like there is one verse which says that even Sheshupala was envious of Krishna, and Kansa was angry to Krishna. Gopis had lust towards Krishna. If all these things, lust and greed, are directed towards Krishna, then also that person is benefited.
But yeah, Kansa was not performing devotional
Yeah, it
service,
was not
but he was
devotional.
purified
Krishna is
because,
so
yeah, because our definition of devotional service is Anukulyana, Krishna Anushilana. So Prabhupada says, yes, he was thinking of, so somehow or other, even if you're an enemy, make Krishna your enemy. And think of Krishna, become a very strong enemy of Krishna. Then something good may come out of it. So, but that's not devotional service. But that's how it is. And what is the other question?
That the Brahmana boy was under the influence of Maya, but Pariksit Maharaj is doing things, envious things.
I mean, Kali Yuga has to come. So the Lord's arrangement is that Kali Yuga has to come. So Kali influenced Shringi to curse Maharaj Pariksit. Maharaj Pariksit is also pure devotee. How can he do like this? Prabhupada says like that. How can he do something like that? How can he be influenced by anger if he is a pure devotee? But this was also the Lord's arrangement. So both are Lord's arrangement. Kali also has to be given a chance. So Krishna gives Kali a chance in Kali Yuga so that we all people in Kali Yuga can have a situation where we can feel, enjoy, and whatever the situation now. We are in Kali Yuga. Of course, now we are in Kali Yuga, but we have a nice situation. What is a nice situation in Kali Yuga? What is the good situation about Kali Yuga? What is the good quality?
Hare Doshi Vile Rajan Nasti Ekam.
Harinam Sankirtan.
So what happens if you do Hare Krishna?
You go to Lord Vrindavan.
Any verse you know from Bhagavatam?
Hare Nam, Hare
Hello, Namaste, 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 Namaste.
So I think Prabhu is asking this question that Pariksit Maharaj, it was not the mistake of Pariksit Maharaj, it was arranged, but it was the mistake of Shringi who cursed Pariksit. That's why the Brahminical culture is destroyed after that, right? So Lord uses someone, so like he was giving the example of one person slapping the other person, but the other person did not, slap back. But the one who slapped, although it was his karma from the past life that was coming to him, but this other person was used as a means to give that person karma. But that person, he did a bad karma to slap the other person. So that other person, he would get bad results. So it's a Shringi's mistake of cursing Pariksit that him and other Brahminical cultures further, degraded.
Yeah, one thing we cannot say I am doing anything or it is influenced by the Lord. Right? We should not think like that I am doing anything and it is
Or it is his karma, that's why I did this to him.
Yeah. For us it may not be, but I don't know, for Maharaj Pariksit is a pure devotee. And Shringi was influenced by Kali. Right? Shringi was influenced by Kali, so that the whole situation can be brought about, right? Kali Yuga can come, and there is a verse like that, so that the Kali Yuga can come. So,
Right. And I think he was also proud, right, that with a child, he had that, knowledge of cursing. So he was a proud Brahminical child.
that was
So-
the downfall of the Brahman.
Yeah, so Kali influences those.
So, but yeah, so in this particular case, whether Shringi acted out of his own thing, or is it because he's responsible or not for cursing?
That's what he is asking.
Yeah,
And Prabhupada wrote that. He
the
was-
influence by Maya.
Yeah.
Maya or Kali is same thing. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh yes,
It was his
influence by
free will, whether it was his free will or it was arranged to do that action.
It's difficult to say because Krishna wants Kali Yuga to come also. So unless the Brahmanas make mistake and they are degraded, then how will the Kali Yuga come? Of course, Shringi later on repented also, right? Isn't it? Shringi, Samika Rishi chastises Shringi.
Yes, I see. But I'm not sure if he repented.
But even we hear that, when Kali entered and when Pariksit Maharaj gave him places, he said, okay, you can stay in gold also where there is so much opulence. So then, I don't know if this is bona fide or not.
No,
where-
he's a devotee. He offered his crown to Krishna. Like we also put
Yeah.
gold. We offer to Krishna, then we put gold so that no Kali will be with others. We also get
Yeah, we were discussing about Jarasan's crown, but I don't know if that is authentic story. That he was
That-
wearing the crown from Jarasan.
Yeah. But he's a devotee, so everything pure devotee.
Yeah.
So this is like I don't think it's connected to our participation.
No, in that purport, Prabhupada also says, even for devotees also there are limitations. And he says that, I think he says that only if the wife is wearing some gold to please the husband, that is the only exception. Otherwise, there is no
Yeah, but
requirement.
also when you wear gold, like in they give offer to the Shingali. For all marriage thing, like when they give, they offer everything to the Shingali. Then we wear. Then all that thing go, even the dress.
But yeah, even there at that time we discussed in Sravanam Saturday that
What is the question?
no. So I was thinking that is it true that
Impressed by Kali or not? Pariksit?
Pariksit Maharaj, we hear that he was, then he said,
It was enemy Prabhupada says. Here, in this place it says it's the enemy.
yeah, here it says that.
Like here Prabhupada says nicely, the merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward position for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence.
So that is not bona fide, right? Where
That
Kali,
Jarasan's.
So he was influenced, like Arjuna was depressed, right? That is also under the influence of Yoga Maya. Because Krishna put him into illusion. Prabhupada writes that in introduction to Bhagavad Gita, that how pure devotee how can he become a devotee, right? So Krishna put him into that situation.
so it is both. It is that because of Krishna's will, he was under the influence of Kali.
For Shringi also.
No,
For Pariksit Maharaj.
Pariksit Maharaj is under the influence of Yoga Maya. Because he is pure devotee. Ultimately, everything is under Krishna's own. Whether you say Kali or say Maya or Yoga Maya, everything ultimately happens only by Krishna's arrangement. But but we can't say, it is Krishna's arrangement. I did something and it is Krishna's arrangement, right? Then I'll not be responsible for anything like that.
Yeah.
Then I'll say it is Krishna's arrangement.
So that's why even that is there, right? That the envy is also given by Krishna only. Pride, like just like pride and other emotions.
Yeah, because we wanted to be envious. So that's why he gave. Ultimately, we wanted it. That's why Krishna gave forgetfulness of Krishna, so that you could be in the center. So ultimately, it is your desire. Otherwise, if everything Krishna gives, then I am not responsible for any mistakes I made. For coming to the material world, also I am not responsible. It is Krishna who sent me here, right? No, he facilitates your desire. So, right? So, as Yathamam Prapadyante, whatever you want, I will reciprocate.
And also, like, I hear from my Prabhuji people, like, I used to tell that when the hard time comes or anyone give hard time, so then, okay, I deserve it, therefore I got the hard time, because it's my past karma, or, that is. But what about that person who give me hard time? Is it Krishna sending, or then there's why the person give hard time? Because he desired to give hard time. So he uses independence, and he going to get the reaction later. But if you tolerate, then your reaction go away. So because tolerate is very powerful. That's it. Another thing, like you see in the Radha Madhav Vastashyaki, Krishna said Tunga Vidya, and they hear the Sudevi, Ranga Devi. So I hear even the devotees, they told, there is no envy in spiritual law. We are here because we envy to Krishna. This is also time, this is like, envy Krishna is not like direct, okay, but if you don't envy anyone, that means you're progressing, you can understand. So then Tunga Vidya, Radharani is always there competition, who will serve Krishna well. But when Radharani cried, all the gopis come. Even the Tunga Vidya also cried when she cried for Krishna. So there is no envy, that is the pastime. That is their pastime going on, because so that they are more and more, lila happen more and more. But there is no envy in the spiritual law. This is for us, this is because we deserve. But Krishna gave us choice. Krishna gave us independent, we use what we want. So better we no need envy, because this is not going to help anything, So that is my understanding. And this envy is, I understand from material people, the people who don't want to come close to Krishna, they want to be always back to Krishna, then okay, stay in the envy. That's all. That is.
Yeah, Mataji was talking about that verse Tatyanukampam Susamkshamana Bhunjanaivatmakritam Vipakam Ridvagapurvi Vadadhan Namaste Jigatayo Mukti Padi Sadayabhak. Shining light for the devotees is that during difficult times, we should tolerate the difficult times and know that everything is coming to us by our own karma. But while going through the suffering, we dedicate our body, mind and words to Krishna, then we become the rightful heir of Krishna's kingdom. Right? So the tit for tat story you told about Sachinandan Maharaj, that was very touching. That how he came out of his body in his subtle form and went to the temple and he saw that some devotees were praying for him. And then he saw the doctor doing the mistake, and the doctor was scared that he would be sued, but he said, I am a monk. I will not do tit for tat. So that's, we should learn from the elevated souls how we should behave. Also, Prabhupada's one line in the purport I was seeing that devotees are always under the protection of the Lord. In any condition, frustration or success, the Lord is the supreme guide for the devotees, and therefore the devotees accept all conditions of frustration as blessings from the Lord. So any situation that has come upon us, we can use that to get closer to Krishna. Even if it's suffering situation, like in this case, Pariksit is cursed. So now he's giving up, he's renouncing his kingdom, his family, and becoming detached. So same thing, the same concept repeats many times, I think. Like when Vidura was insulted by Duryodhan, he left and he went out for a pilgrimage, and he went to several saints, and he discussed Bhagavatam. So he used that situation of being insulted in his benefit of getting closer to Krishna. Same with Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed by Parvati, and he could counter curse her, Prabhupada writes, but he didn't do that. So in his next life he became Vritrasura and he returned back home, back to Godhead in one lifetime. I think same thing with Gajendra and Indradumna. King Indradumna, same thing happened, right? Agastya Muni came and he thought that, okay, I'm not being received from this king, and so he cursed him to become an elephant, and he became Gajendra, and Gajendra, one lifetime he went back. So whatever, difficulties come upon us, we should think like, as a mother who's giving a bitter medicine to the child, and the mother gives nice things to the child, right? The child is happy, but when the child is sick, mother gives bitter medicine to the child. The child doesn't like it, but it's for the benefit of the child. So we should think that, any difficulty that has come upon us, it's for our purification. And what is that I can learn from this situation and become more pure and get closer to Krishna. So we just have to implement. When the difficulty comes, that's the time to implement. When somebody criticizes us, whether we say something back to them or we get hurt in our heart, that we know where we are. So it's time to implement Trinadapi Sunechinata Urapi Seshna. Become tolerant, become humble, give respect to others, don't desire respect from them. You said that when the situation comes, who said that? You, Radha
What?
What is the statement?
He said, how will you become so humble? He said, when the situation comes, I practice it. When there is a situation where you can actually show your humility, you practice humility. You practice humility. Then by practicing, you become perfect.
Didn't you also say sometimes that you pretend that you are humble?
Correct. Yeah. He says that if you're not, tolerant, or you fake it till you make it. Right.
When Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj says, don't fake so much that you think you have made it when you are still faking. That also. Or don't fake just to fool others. That
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, Mahatma Das Prabhu said that the path to dash is done by practice of dash. So path to humility is done by practicing humility. Path to chanting is done by practicing chanting. So although we are not, but we should try to act, act in such a way. Like act. What if I was a pure devotee? How would a pure devotee behave in such a situation? Right?
How will you behave?
So let me behave that.
Let me be pure devotee for when you chant, you should think, how would a pure devotee chant? Let me chant like that.
How do they chant?
They are chanting with so much affection for Krishna.
The prayers that we have for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, we can understand their mood, right? That's how they're chanting. So
Of course, it's just like we are trying to imbibe their mood.
correct. Yeah, we
We are
cannot
not doing
imitate
that,
them.
but how would they chant? That's
How
what
would they chant?
How would they act? How would they surrender? Let me surrender. Prabhupada said like that, do as I am doing. As I am doing, I am showing example. Acharya means only shows by example. So you do as I am doing. So you may not be able to do what Prabhupada did. But take inspiration.
Do you have anything else to share with me?
Huh?
Do you have anything else to share?
No, I was thinking that how frustration, Prabhupada didn't get frustration, then he would not have taken sannyas and he would not have come to America and he would not have spread the Krishna consciousness. It was kind of that helped him also, right? The frustration from his family, his business failed, and he says, Yasyaha manu grinnami harishya tantanam shilai tatovatanam. So material world is meant to frustrate the living entity so that he can turn to Krishna.
Yeah. He said the qualification of hippies was that they were frustrated because they tried to enjoy various ways. They said, we can't enjoy. So Prabhupada tell us, like, we'll try this. You say that we can get higher taste by doing, but let's try it because anyways we are frustrated from other.
But that is also Krishna Krupa, right? Because some people are frustrated and they really go down. And those people, they are frustrated and they went to Krishna. So that is Krishna Krupa that they lead into Krishna.
Yeah, also more than Krishna Kripa is Sadhu Kripa. Because Prabhupada, from his own free will, he traveled so far and with so much suffering he came here, right? So sadhus are more merciful than Krishna. So that's why devotees go door to door. He does door to door book distribution, or he does so much, right? So he's there distributing Prabhupada's mercy to others. Otherwise, they will all, travel and they will never come to the temple here. The Lord doesn't go out, but the devotees go out and they bring them.
But those hippies had that last karma that they came across Prabhupada.
Right. So one time hippie said that, right? So there is a one word, Bhadeva right? What is it? Aho bhat so pach. No, you say that. Yeah. Whoever are chanting the holy name, they must have done many sacrifices in the past and have good conduct of the Aryans and performed all kinds of vows, etc. So one devotee said to Prabhupada, oh, we must have done all of this, that's why we are chanting the holy name. Prabhupada says, no, you did not have any qualification, I will be qualified. So actually we should think that we had no good karma in the past to be in the temple. We got the mercy of devotees and Srila Prabhupada and we became fortunate. If we think that we have done something good in the past, we'll become proud. It was because of me I came. No. It's because of mercy of devotees and
That's
Srila
how we
Prabhupada.
should think.
Yeah.
But we should not think if I am not coming, that is also mercy of devotees. If you like that.
No, that also they say,
We
right?
lose the mercy of devotees when we offend devotees and then we lose taste in Krishna Katha. Right? So when we serve devotees, we get taste in Krishna.
Or sometimes we are coming, we don't offend, but material desires are so much.
Yeah, that's an offense to the holy name.
Yeah, material desires are so much in the heart that I stop coming. Because I have so many other things outside. I did not do anything with any devotee, but my material desires only like.
Yeah. That's an offense to the holy name, maintaining material attachment, so that's an offense.
But we are, nobody is pure in the beginning, right? So they come.
So when we come in the association of devotees, we get the enthusiasm to keep chanting, even if we have material attachment, then ultimately those get removed.
Devotee association is good and bad. Because if you offend the devotees, then it can create a lot of problems for you. But it is good if you serve the devotees, then it's very good.
Correct. It's like fire. You
It's
can't
like fire.
be too close to the fire, otherwise you'll get burned.
You should know how to handle fire. Otherwise, in the association of devotees is good. It's like Prabhupada says, razor. Razor is good if you know how to shave properly. But if you don't know how to shave properly and you have a sharp razor, then what will happen? You shave? It's too young to shave. So it will get cut and blurred. So of course we feel even if you offend devotees, we should go and beg forgiveness from the devotees because that's the way to get out of Vaishnava Parama.
I went to Mayapur in temple and there's a big association. Like the 7 years I was there. And but my realization, first I come there's different kind of association. And after the association, I have different kind of association. With that I understand you have to be always careful, even going temple, whom you associate. That was I tell Ujjwala, so my case. Always associate whom you're going to get close to Krishna, whom you learn the devotion as well as talk about Krishna. Because sometimes we take a little loose way. When devotee, we have nice uniform of devotee, but what you're speaking, that is and so that is thing. I'm not going temple. So here, okay, we have very less community, but in big temple, there is a different class. So we have to choose who will follow. Fortunately, my friend was all Prabhupada disciple. They are take care of me like his mom, child, all the time. They have been loving. And other whoever friend, they are very much later I choose. Like after Bhakti Sasya, I understand who I have to associate.
Sajatiya. There are three things. Sajatiya means three things.
Which one?
Snigdha. No, I don't know. Snigdhasya.
Snigdhasya means those who are affectionate to you, those who have your good interest at heart. Then,
Like-minded.
yeah, that is part of like-minded.
No, but there are three, right?
Okay, like-minded.
No.
Like-minded, they have affection for you, and they are friendly or something. There is three things about Sajatiya devotees. Anyway,
You don't know the verse?
No.
How is it
Swayam
possible,
Bhagavan
Guru?
Krishna Maharaj.
you have to be. They have to be like your friend, affectionate to you. They should be your well-wisher.
They should be little more advanced.
Advanced, yeah, I think that's advanced also there is there, but then
It helps.
like-minded. So
How will that help that person? Those who are advanced, they are associating with lower.
no, if you help anybody come up in Krishna consciousness, you also get benefited. You also make spiritual advancement.
No, but
That is why Krishna says, right? Nacha tasman manusheshu kashyane. Anybody who preaches this message is very dear to me because
So the more advanced you become, the more you realize that you need to associate with those who are not so advanced. Is it? Because otherwise, if everybody wants like, okay, I want to only talk with advanced devotees, so then they will not talk to them.
no, advanced devotee, you have your peer connection, you have somebody, and then you have a higher connection. So all the three have.
Correct.
Yeah.
Radha Maharaj said 25% senior devotees like Guru Varga. 25% you associate with the newcomers for preaching. And 50% you associate with your friends. Because you can learn from each other and be enthusiastic in doing services together.
And they can point out your faults.
And then you also experience envy and other kind of anarthas amongst equals more. I mean, not with the guru you cannot be, but with the equals or "Oh, he's doing better, let me do like. So there's anarthas that can come out that you can realize, okay, these are what I have.
So 25% with newcomers, 25% with the seniors, and
But
then
50%
50%.
most of the time with the like-minded, equal friends.
Chai.
Sajatiya.
Okay. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Jai.